We're back with more from special counsel Jack Smith's big filing today, urging the Supreme Court to make an immediate decision on Trump's immunity claim, saying, quote, the indictment alleges serious criminal conduct that Trump conspired to thwart the lawful transfer of power. Detailing, quote, enforcing federal criminal laws that prohibit such conduct is vital to protecting democracy itself. Vital to protecting democracy. That's a timely remark from Jack Smith, because in recent days, Trump has raised so many alarms with comments echoing Adolf Hitler and praising dictators and autocrats. Take a listen.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They're destroying our country. They don't like it when I said that. And I never read Mein Kampf. They said, oh, Hitler said that in a much different way. It was like a rocket ship sent by Kim Jong-un, just like that. Who was very nice. They're not in jail with the J6 hostage. I don't call them prisoners. I call them hostages.
Joining me now is Mary Trump, Donald Trump's niece, the author of the newsletter The Good in Us, and the author of two books, Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man, and The Reckoning, Our Nation's Trauma and Finding a Way to Heal. She's also has a podcast, The Mary Trump Show. Mary, it's always so good to spend time with you. You know, you've got a PhD in clinical psychology. You've described Donald in your book, Too Much and Never Enough, as someone who exhibits textbook narcissistic personality disorder. How does that make him even more dangerous in a position of power like President of the United States?
Well, Kitty, first of all, it's great to see you. Thank you for having me. I think what we're seeing is just more of the same, but at increasingly exponential levels. Donald is definitely a cornered animal at this point. His legal, financial, and political danger is increasing by the day, and his profound personality disorders make it impossible for him to care about anything but his own safety and security. So unbelievably enough, I think we've been having this conversation now since the middle of the hopefully first and only Trump administration. There is no bottom here. There is nothing we should put past him. He does not deserve the benefit of the doubt. We need to take him at his word. And I think we've seen more evidence of this, especially since the election was called in 2020 with the big lie and then the insurrection. But what worries me more at this point are his enablers, the people he seeks to empower if he tragically gets back into office, and the people in the audience who cheer him on.
Yeah, I share your sentiment. I actually tweeted out, it's bad enough to listen to him say the horrific things he's saying, but the people that are applauding it, I find that to be equally as terrible, maybe even worse, because they're the ones who actually bolster him up. Speaking of bolstering, you know, there's a new poll that found that 42% of Iowa Republicans say that they are more likely to support Trump after he said that immigrants were, quote, poisoning the blood of our country. Mary, does Donald Trump need that kind of approbation to keep going with this rhetoric, or is he just going to say it anyway? As you said, it's exponentially growing worse and worse, especially as we reach even farther into 2024.
Well, one of the very few things Donald is actually quite good at is reading a room and figuring out what rhetoric works. That's why he repeats himself so much. If he says something once and it gets a positive response, he'll double down, triple down, quadruple down. If he says something, I think once he came out in favor of vaccines and it got booed, we never heard him say anything like that again. So yeah, it is self-reinforcing, but the sentiments are also his. I don't care that he claims never to have read Mein Kampf. I'm sure he didn't because he doesn't read. But the fact that a potential presidential nominee, even those words come out of his mouth, is just a tragic example of where we find ourselves. So one, I think he does feed off the crowd, but also there's no turning back at this point because of all of the people in his orbit who have the same agenda.
And to that point, those allies, those enablers of him, they're taking that racist rhetoric a step, like I would say further, like, for example, Stephen Miller, who Axios reported could serve in a future Trump administration, said this on Fox News. Take a listen.
We are being conquered. This is a complete resettlement of America in real time. Now when you have millions of people coming in from different cultures and different ways of living and different belief systems, unless there is massive, large-scale deportations by the millions, it will be irrevocable.
Okay, I just want to say this to begin with. Number one, that's Jesse Waters on Fox News. So, I mean, you want to talk about, you know, the best and friendliest environment for Stephen Miller to say that? That's creme de la creme for Stephen Miller. I said last night with Michael Cohen, though, Mary, you know, Stephen Miller's family, they immigrated from Belarus. They fled Belarus. And now he's taking this position. But the real question is, he could hold a position, likely the commandant of deportation in the second Trump administration, and God knows what else he could do.
Katie, this is one of the things I most resent about the fact that Donald Trump was elevated to the Oval Office. We got subjected to people like Stephen Miller, who is perhaps the most, at least one of the most vile political creatures in this country's history. The fact that he is allowed to continue to spout this despicable rhetoric is a stain on our ability to punish people for their crimes. The fact that he was never held accountable for what he did in terms of putting children in cages after kidnapping them from their parents is just, it's unfathomable to me that this, not only that, but that this man is in line to become an incredibly powerful figure in the next, hopefully fictional Trump administration. I don't know why we let certain things slide, but here we are, and you know we're reaping the whirlwind in this case, because Stephen Miller will stop, like Donald, stop at nothing to get his agenda passed, and it's not about ideology for either one of them. It's about power.
I think it's time for a gut check, Mary Trump, for all Americans. The moment of reckoning is here, and we need to decide who we want to be and the kind of country we want the world to see that we are. But Mary Trump, I always appreciate your insight and your analysis. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Katie.